Welcome to MMA Dogs. My name is Hector, and will Matt Brown, the immortal, prove to us that he truly is unkillable? And also, what live dogs are there tonight, and which ones will actually cash? Those are a few questions that I will answer. And before we get started, because it is crunch time, I'm going to make this video nice, short, nice and sweet, and always wager what you can afford to lose. Of course, we always want to win, but you want to be prepared for the worst. And always check your local laws. Much respect to all the women and men who step into the octagon. And let's get into it. So we got Joanna versus Juliana. It's the best way to do it. Joanna J versus Juliana Lima for this fight. Joanna is coming into the UFC with a lot of hype. She has very good stand-up, but against what competition? That is the big question. Against what level of competition? And with Lima, you know, she's not that she hasn't faced that much better competition herself. So in this case, in this situation, I'm going to pass on this fight. I'm going to go with Joanna J for the win. Minus 290. That's too steep of a line for two girls making their debut, especially since, like I said, the level of competition that I've seen them fight isn't to where I feel comfortable betting that type on a person making their debut. So Joanna J for the win. Do not bet. For the next one, we got Burns and Stahl. This is a very interesting fight. Burns, as we know, jiu-jitsu player, very, very accomplished. Vitor Belfort in his corner. And then Stahl, another guy, another big-time prospect coming out of Europe, trains with Gustafsson, all those guys. So it'll be an interesting matchup. With Burns, though, I have to say that if he's able to get the fight to the ground, there may be a submission here. So I am going to say do not bet. Once again, we got to wait and see what these guys can do in the UFC because they haven't faced top caliber guys, same as the girls. So Burns by submission. I'm predicting round 1, but do not bet. No bet there. Much better opportunities coming up. And we got Seiler versus Lahat. This is a very interesting fight here. Seiler minus 220. Lahat is a very dangerous fighter right now because he really, he's got nothing to lose. He's got bigger goals, bigger aspirations than being a fighter in the UFC. So he's got nothing to lose. If he loses this fight, so what? He was going to leave anyways. If he wins this fight, which he should be fueled and driven to win it, then that makes total sense. Now, as far as skills go, Seiler has many more skills, has much more skills. Seiler could potentially take him down, hold him there, lay and pray or ground and pound. I've never seen Seiler be a lay and pray type of fighter. So Seiler is very resilient, very underrated in my opinion. I've underestimated him. And he's just a survivor, a tough guy. So Seiler for the win by decision, but do not bet. Do not bet. Not even nothing. And the next fight is very interesting. We got Dos Santos versus Areola. This is an interesting matchup because Dos Santos, from the footage that I watched, is very aggressive. Goes for the finish. A lot of these jungle fights guys, they go for the finish, man. They just go for it. They go for it. And with Areola, he's very seasoned, very experienced. He's only 31, so he's not that old. When I first started doing my research, I was ready to bet the farm on Dos Santos, but I had to pump the brakes on that one. I saw a couple things that I didn't like, and last thing we need is an upset here with two guys making their debuts, so their official debuts. So I'm going to go with Dos Santos. I will be betting him, and I'll go over that in a little bit. Ortega versus De La Torre. Ortega highly touted prospect. De La Torre, a guy who, in some people's opinions, pulled off the upset on Bocek. But Ortega here is just better everywhere from the footage that I saw. Although De La Torre is at MMA Labs and he's quickly improving, so do not bet. But I'm going to go with Ortega by decision. Ortega by decision or a submission in round 1, I would say. But do not bet. Do not bet. Line's very close. Tim Means versus Perpetuo. I like Hernani here. Hernani Perpetuo for the upset. So there's a dog I was talking about there. I really do like him, especially there's a prop play. Obviously, you can't go too heavy. You can't go heavy on the prop play, but just depending on what how many accounts you have, what you've got to work with. But you could do the point spread, which I'll go over in a little bit. But just as a plus 190 dog, plus 185, plus 200, yeah, it's a good price for this guy. He's just very talented. I think we all underestimated what he can do. Second fight in the UFC. With Tim Means, we know what we're going to get, so I'm not too jazzed about Tim Means. So Perpetua for the upset there. As far as the bet, it's very small. I'll go into it in a little bit. It didn't even, I will tell you this, it didn't, at first it was going to make 3-star, but it didn't make 3 stars, just under. So, but it'll be something nonetheless. Kingsbury versus Cummins. Kingsbury, he retired. He did some rituals which enlighten the mind. Open up your brain, which is very cool. But what? Why is he coming back? He's really a lot of questions with Kingsbury and Cummins. He's looked, in the UFC. He fought DC, which takes a lot of guts. Be fighting DC, and then he took on Navarez, a guy who underrated. He showed up to fight. So in this one, I'm going to go with Cummins. The price is way too high, minus 175, and it's not a dog or pass type of situation where I see, oh yeah, Kingsbury. So do not bet. Do not bet. But I'm going to go with Cummins by decision. Cruickshank versus Masvidal. Masvidal is a guy I've been watching for a long time, and he's too cocky. He is very good, of course, but he's a little bit takes things too lightly, and he's had a history of doing that. Obviously, his my favorite part of his game is his wrestling and his submissions because it's very underrated. He's been showing us more and more how good he really is. So Masvidal, very good fighter, much respect to him, but I see him and his attitude. I've watched interviews on him, videos on him. He had a little documentary that they were releasing in Florida a little while back, and he just kind of has like a kind of like attitude, like whatever, man. Nobody's gonna beat me, which can be good, but when you're preparing for a fight and you're fighting some guys who are coming up real hungry, like Cruickshank, who have confidence. Cruickshank has a lot of confidence right now, who has the ability to knock him out in the first round if Masvidal starts off slow, like he does. So Cruickshank by knockout, round 1, he's at plus 220, and there's some crazy props that are out there too, which you can lay a little something on. So I like Cruickshank here, and I like him for the upset. Thomson versus Green. At first, I wanted to find reasons why Green might pull it off, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to. I like Thomson here. Thompson's just on another level. If Thomson puts Green in a position like he did Ben Henderson, he'll finish it. So I really like Thomson there. But what gives me reservation as to placing a bet is his retirement. Once again, very much like Kingsbury, they've got stuff going on outside the octagon, and I believe there's better spots, but I do think Thomson will win. Do not bet. Clay Guida versus Dennis Bermudez. I like Guida for the upset here. I'm very familiar with Bermudez. Bet him in the past, and excuse me. And he's been profitable, but I don't know. There's too many holes in his game still. He's taking a big step up. Guida's fought the best. I don't think Guida's done yet, and We'll be playing a little something on Guida. Johnson versus Nogueira. Man, this is nearly a 5-star bet here. Anthony Johnson all day knockout. Just lots of things. Nogueira's had a million injuries. One of the worst that can happen, which is a back injury. And he's just done. When he talks about retirement, he gets almost offended, almost surprised, almost like in denial about that it's right around the corner for him. So Johnson by knockout, nearly 5 stars. It's going to be a large 4-star play. And Robbie Lawler versus Matt Brown. For this one, at first I was reluctant because Matt Brown, man, that guy is just a savage. And after refreshing my mind, watching all the fights, Robbie Lawler is just on another level. I have much respect for Matt Brown, but Robbie Lawler is just a different type of beast. This guy, man, he's so good, and I like Robbie Lawler here to finish Matt Brown inside the distance. Really like that one a lot. So let's get into the bets. MMA DAWGS UFC on Fox 12. 5 stars, unfortunately, there is none, but there are 2 4-star large plays in Robbie Lawler and Anthony Johnson. Large 4-star plays. 3 stars, a small play on Dos Santos, and that's it for my betting picks there. Moving right along to the bets, there are going to be some more bets than just those picks. So 1% of the bankroll equals 1 unit. So here are my bets, and this is what we're going to go with. Lawler at -355 plus Johnson at -520. That gives us -189. 4 units to win 2.12. Lawler and Dos Santos at -215 equals -114. Half a unit to win 0.44. Johnson plus Dos Santos, that equals -134. Half a unit to win 0.37. So that'll be that's the focus of it. If you're not into prop bets, I would suggest you look into them. But that ought to be those 3 ought to cash. Those 3 should cash out. Lawler inside the distance at -190, 1 unit to win 0.53. Like I said, there are limits, but there are multiple books that offer the prop. So and also, of course, multiple accounts. So Lawler inside the distance -190. I love that. 1 unit to win 0.53. Johnson Nogueira doesn't go to decision, -150. 1 unit to win 0.67. Guida plus 3.5 points at -260, plus Johnson -3.5 points at -250. That gives us -109, half a unit to win 0.46. Perpetuo plus 215, half a unit to win 1.08. Cruickshank plus 225, quarter unit to win 0.56. In a round robin of 2s, the total bet is 1.5 units to win 2.68. Lawler inside the distance once again. Johnson Nogueira doesn't go to decision once again. Perpetuo plus 3.5 points at -125. Cruickshank plus 3.5 points at -145. And the total bet then is on the night is 9.75 units to win 8.91. So that wraps it up. Let's get this video up and out. And thank you guys for tuning in, of course. Check out our website, MMADAWGS.com. And I will talk to you guys real soon. Take care.